Hello. I'm going to kick this one off by showing you a little behind the scenes stuff. This is what the content studio looks like when you go to the content section on YouTube. And I have a video scheduled for Monday, January the 2nd, that is going to be recapping the 1360s. And so I didn't want to move right in on January 3rd, which is Tuesday, to the next year, which will be 1370. So I was like, what can I do to kind of wrap up the year and end 2022 and get ready to go to 2023? So I'm going to talk about some of my favorites from the year, and we're going to talk about some of my not so favorites from the year. So I kind of have these broken down into 4 different groups. So the first one we're going to start with is actual gameplay. What is the most annoying thing to me about playing in The Sims? Now, I'm sure that you guys can go ahead down at the bottom and make some guesses because there are quite a few things that I have complained about. So I've complained about the laundry situation and the fact that even though my Sims wash their laundry, it's still dirty when they put it on the line. I have complained about the chicken situation and that every time I leave my house and I come back, I have no chickens assigned to my chicken coops. But I think the one I have complained about the most is the garden situation. And yes, that did get fixed, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. But I think if you've watched the series, especially from beginning to end, then you know that the gardening situation has been the most annoying part of the gameplay for me so far. Now let's talk about what's been the most enjoyable part of playing the game. And I want to say, because we're specifically talking about the Ultimate Decades Challenge, so I want to just say that it's been the family in general, like hanging out from the beginning and just growing this family, like watching them spread out and grow and all that stuff. But that's not really gameplay. So I think the thing that I like the best about gameplay for this is the ability to have all of the things at the house, like even the things I complain about, like having the garden and having the chickens and having the little pond that they can fish in. And even at the beginning when we had the cows and the llamas, and having it be like what a real farm, not a real farm really, but as good as we can get it in The Sims. I love that part of it. I love getting up and the kids all doing their chores and everybody going out and taking care of the things that we have in the farm. And I love that part. So in the new decade, we will definitely be adding, I think we're going to start small and just add 1 cow. But you know me, I sometimes like to add way too many things and then I can't keep up with everything I've added. So that is the best and worst of the gameplay. So the next category we're going to move into is the actual game, my actual Decades Challenge. The first question is, who is my favorite family? Now, also, I would like for you to answer any of these questions that you want to answer below. I would love to hear your thoughts on all of them as well. So my favorite family is original Edmund and Grace, when they had all the kids at home, especially the quadruplets, when they aged up and they were all running around everywhere. Like, I think that was the first bit of chaos that I had in this series, and just me learning what I kind of wanted it to be and what I wanted it to do. And so those kids kind of stand out to me the most, and that part of the Edmund and Grace family kind of stands out to me. Now, for my specific favorite Sim, I think this kind of changes as we go along. Like, I thought Edmund was such a great dad. Like, he was constantly playing with his kids and hanging out with them. And I just loved watching him like autonomously do those things. If you've been here since the beginning, you know that I loved Michael, even though he gave me so many problems as a kid when he was growing up. But I loved Michael, and I was so sad that he only had one baby, and that one baby did not survive. I really wanted Michael's line to continue. But I think that my all-time favorite Sim so far is Hugh. I don't know what it was. I think it's because I thought Robert was going to be the heir for so long. And then all of a sudden Robert was gone. And I was like, oh my gosh, it's going to have to be Hugh. And I wasn't prepared for it, I don't think. And he surprised me in so many ways. And so I just think that Hugh is my favorite sim so far out of this family that we've had. Now, my most annoying sim, I know that I referenced Michael earlier, and Michael was pretty annoying to me, but nobody is beating Quentin so far. And I know it's because I randomized their traits and he randomly got mean, but he makes everything that happens on this farm and in this house so much harder because he's here. And so I don't know. Right now, my most annoying sim is Quentin. And then finally in this section, what is the saddest moment that we have had? And I was just going to say the plague in general, like it was awful, but I think what I'm going to say is specifically John Miller's family during the plague. Because I was so worried. Number one, I finally had a Sebastian that had made it to toddlerhood. And it was looking like if he could live through the plague, he would make it to childhood and maybe we would have a Sebastian heir. Well, they lost all 4 of their older kids. And the only 2 kids who were alive were the newborn twins that they had just had. And so John died. So we had one little tiny possibility that our brand new tiny baby Kellen would end up being the heir. And that has actually worked out for us. But the plague was definitely the saddest, and especially at John's house was devastating for me. So now let's move to the mods and CC section. So what are my favorite mods? I've narrowed it down to just 3. So I have a lot of mods, but I'm going to talk about my favorite 3. One of them is MC Command Center. You guys know I can't play at all without this. This is the thing that determines our percentages when we're trying for babies. This is the thing that lets us stop on playable labor, where it will pause and pop up and tell me that somebody's in labor. This is also what helps me with lots of stuff that we have going on around here. So I definitely could not play this without MC Command Center. The second mod that I love is the hunting and fishing. It's called Ye Olde Cookbook mod, and it doesn't have fishing. I just said that because it went with hunting. But it has the hunting and the foraging and the sign and everything that it can do. It's got the cookbook and the stove, and there's just so many more things that we can cook. You can cook shelf-stable items like bread and cheese and boiled eggs, and all those things stay good. And so I love that. I'm not following the rules of this challenge that say don't use a refrigerator. And so without the refrigerator, though, you could definitely still make this work with that mod, because you could leave out the eggs and the bread and the cheese and all that stuff, and they would always have something that they could eat. So I love that mod. It made things way more historically accurate and also just more fun to play in the history challenge. My third favorite mod, if you've been here, you know that it's going to be the gardening mod. The gardening has given me headaches and just made everything much worse. But I am so excited to move into 1370, to have a real farm that we will actually plant crops at the beginning of a season, and we will let those crops grow throughout the season, and then we will harvest them at the end of a season. Like, what seems to make common sense was not working because of the gardening issue. The gardening issue is not fixed, but thankfully we have a mod that fixes it. So I am going to link those 3 mods down below if you don't know about them or you want more information on them. There are tons of videos by other people, or you can ask me in the comments and I'll let you know. Now, what is my favorite CC? I don't know that I have a favorite right now because I'm getting kind of bored of all of the clothes that we have, because I need new clothes, and I still have 30 years before I'm letting myself go shopping for new clothes, because I don't want to go buy new clothes or to go get new clothes, new CC clothes every time I am bored, because then I'm going to run out of clothes eventually. Like, people are only making so many CC clothing items for the 13 and 1400s. So I'm making myself wait until the 1400s, and then right before we move into 1400, we'll have a shopping day and we will go CC shopping, and I will do all of that on camera because there's a lot of people that are asking me like, where'd you get this and where'd you get this? So if I have it all in an actual video, I can just send people there to look at all the CC that I'll be using in the 1400s. So we're going to all do that, not really together, but kind of together on camera. So let's move into the final section, the stats. So first, who had the most children? Now this one is a little bit, I guess, unfair because the side families can never win this because they will never be able to have enough children to count this. So this has to only be the heir and their people. So we have Grace. She had 19 children. Then Hugh became the heir, and Hugh married Eve, and they only had 3 children. Well, John became the heir, and John married Isla, and Isla had 10 children with John, but then she married Michael, and she had 10 more children with Michael. So Isla wins for most children. She had 20, which is one more than Grace had at the very beginning. And nobody else is going to have that many just because I've turned off multiple births. So if somebody has 20, it's going to be 20, like getting pregnant 20 times, not just getting pregnant 10 times, which is almost what Isla did. Okay, then we have the most used name. Now, you know that I copy names a lot, right? So this says that I thought that we had a lot of Edmonds, but we only have 3 Edmonds. So that means I know what is going to be the most used name, and that's going to be Sebastian, right? And that's still only 5, and I only named 4 of them because one Sebastian came to us already named Sebastian. So yes, the most used name is Sebastian with 5 times. I want to see how that changes over the year and how many names we have next year and how many people have been named all the other names, because there are some names that are carrying on in our families that I can't wait. Okay, and then the final thing that we're going to talk about are the number of people born and dead and the total. And so thankfully, I already have this chart right up here at the top that tells me. And so we have 57 people who are alive right now, and we have 107 people who have died. So total, our 2 little Edmund and Grace have created 164 people. Now, I know some of those married into the family, but still they're considered part of the family. So 164. Then we have a few charts over here to talk about at the very end. Our male and female stats just hover right here. They stay really close to 50%. Right now, we've had 85 males and 80 females, but they really do stay right in this area. We have had, I think this age of death thing really does show what the statistics say, which is that most babies didn't live, or a lot of babies didn't live, but once they did live from being a baby, then they mostly lived to be an adult or even an elder. And these 15 people who died as elders died at the very end of their life. So it's not like they died because something happened. They died of old age, these 15 people. So I think that statistically speaking, we're still pretty good with how things probably would have been in the 1300s. I just like looking at the charts. And then we have our country of nationality. Most everybody is English. We have some French and English. We have French, and then we have a little sliver of unknown here. What is this one, I wonder? Scottish. We have 1 Scottish person. And we're going to have some more, though, because they're going over to Scotland. So that's it. those are all of our charts and all of our stats. I want to know what you guys think, what other things that you want to see whenever I do this recap thing, because I think it's a great idea and I'm definitely going to do it at the end of 2023. So I kind of want to know what I need to be charting or keeping up with all through 2023. So I am so glad that you guys joined me for this wild ride of 2022, and I'm so excited to move into 2023 and keep following the Miller family as they continue to move into the future. So let me know again what your thoughts are on things that you want to see and things you want me to track. I think that would be cool, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.